So I'm not sure if this is recording or not. This is my first time using Zoom and I'm waiting for Rachel to join. My name is Dawn Bournand. I'm with Fabulous Florida Living and I see that Rachel is in the waiting room, so I'm going to admit her. Hey, Rachel.
Now I'm not muted. Hi.
Yay, yay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So I was just saying that this is my first time doing a Zoom. I don't know if it's your first time at this rodeo or not. You can probably guide me if it isn't your first time.
So sorry, I'm messing with this here. It is not my first Zoom, but I've never hosted a Zoom, so you may have better intel than me on that. So
Okay, all right. So I basically wanted to give a little introduction as to why we're doing this. First of all, obviously, there's a lot of chaos and confusion out there, just in general in the world, not even approaching what's going on in the housing market and especially with mortgages. But I sort of started putting this list together of questions that I had for Rachel. And I thought, you know what, if I have this question, I bet other realtors have this question. And even more importantly, I bet other buyers and sellers and investors have these questions. So I'm sure you've been getting overwhelmed, Rachel, right?
Oh, no, never, never overwhelmed. Everything's fine. No, we definitely have gotten a lot of questions for sure. Yes.
Okay, great. So if you don't mind, I thought let's just jump into the questions. And if we find that there's enough of a need for this, maybe we can make this something regular that we do where we can answer people's questions. But I think most importantly in this time right now, as I said, when there's so much confusion, just to sort of hopefully make people a little more calm and at ease with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I love that. And thank you so much for putting this together and for providing a platform to have some questions answered, right? And I think there's so much information in the news and there's so many different stories and broadcasts. And there's so many, I see, of course, on social media, I'm friends with other lenders who are posting different information than the information I've received. And so, it's hard. It's hard when you're in this industry every single day. And it's hard, certainly when it's not something that's, buying a house is not something most people do all the time, right? So
yeah, it's not an everyday experience.
Yeah, if it's confusing for us, I think it's definitely important to just share information. So I don't know, I'll kind of let you lead with questions and we can kind of talk through it. How does that sound?
That sounds fantastic. And I would say just jump in at any moment. And I'm going to tell you guys something. I am seeing that people are in the waiting room and I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means you can't hear or if I let you in, if that means that you're going to be on camera too. So maybe what I would say is, why don't I open up the waiting room and let you in? But if you guys wouldn't mind turning off your sound and your video so that we're just hearing, Rachel's wonderful answers. And then maybe after we've done this main part of the presentation, if we want to open up for some Q&A, that would be great. So again, if you guys don't mind just turning off your video and your audio, and then we'll open up for questions if we have time after.
That's so exciting that we have people.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so I'm going to admit everybody.
It's going to be a floodgate.
Yep. So we've got some video on. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and turn off video. How do I do that?
Oh, my friend Sam's in there. What's up, Sam?
Okay. Yay. There we go. All right. So I think the biggest question that I had coming up from a number of my clients, and I too had this question, was, okay, so the Federal Reserve cut interest rates to 0%. Does that mean it's 0% mortgage rates?
Hey, yeah, no, that's a negative there, unfortunately. But that's a great question, and it's one that we received a lot. And we were just talking about. Sorry, getting sick here. We were just talking about other lenders posting kind of different information than the one I received. Right after that announcement, this was one of my realtor partners sent a screenshot of a lender, a mortgage lender, posting interest rates at 0.25%. Call me for your refi now, right?
Oh,
So
la.
the biggest takeaway from that is just to know that by the Fed reducing their rates to 0%, that is on the money that they lend to banks on a short-term basis. Okay. Mortgage loans are in a completely different bucket, right?
Okay.
So what it does have, though, to put it kind of succinctly, is it has some other effects that will help keep mortgage rates low, which is exciting,
Yeah.
right? So it definitely, what it did impact was get a lot of people talking and get a lot of people asking questions, which was good, right?
The phone calls to Rachel.
Yeah, exactly. It was we had just the greatest clients that had just closed on, it was like on a Sunday night that was announced, and on Friday we had just closed this amazing couple's purchase, and the girl called me like devastated, like, Rachel, could we have gotten this interest rate at 0%? So yeah, the biggest thing to note is that rates are low. Rates are lower than they have been in at minimum the past 4 years. A lot of times we're seeing historically low kind of in the history of ever. Another thing, if I can just go off that same thoughts in terms of interest rates,
Yes.
and what is so important is that for me personally as a lender, I've never experienced a rate market like this, in the sense of, it used to be that you get a rate sheet as a lender, and then those are your rates for that day, and you can price somebody at 8 a.m. and it's the same at 7 p.m., right? Now, because technology is so updated and we're so connected to the market, and because the market is shifting all over the place, we are seeing that one interest rate that we quote at 8 a.m. is not valid at 11 a.m., right? Because of the way
Wow.
it is shifting. So I won't, and I know we're going to talk about some other questions, so I won't go too far into this, but just, it's the most important, most important, that when you are talking with a lender, if something sounds too good to be true, if they're not providing a full breakdown of costs, right, associated with a refinance or a purchase transaction, just know that you as a client need to feel so comfortable with your payment and with any cash out of pocket. Like, that's the biggest thing, is that no matter what the interest rate is going to be kind of what it is, right? I don't control it. You don't control it. Person that control it doesn't listen to me, right? So the that it's just so important now more than ever to be comfortable with your monthly payment and your out-of-pocket cost, right? And I'll digress. I know we want to keep it succinct here, but to answer your question, is doing great things for rates, but no, they're not at 0%.
Okay, great. And I am so glad that you brought that up, Rachel, about the other cost associated. I know we didn't have this as one of the topics to talk about. We definitely can talk about that on another chat if you want to. But I really do want to sort of underline what you just said, because I just had a client who went with the lender that they wanted to go with, and it ended up their points that they were being quoted was outrageous. I'm not just talking a couple of $1,000. I'm talking a lot of money.
Like $6,000 to $10,000 is what
it was over that. It was way over that. And I said, you need to flag that. You need to talk to your lender, because that's not normal. So I do appreciate you doing that. And that's one of the reasons why I love working with you. I'm just going to, give my little 5-star rating to Rachel right now, because her and her team are always so open and honest and really convey everything that is going on with the home mortgage to their clients. And I feel so comfortable every time I put a client in your hands.
Thank you. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is that purchases, refinances, no matter what, the main thing is that you are informed, you are aware of what's going on, and you're comfortable. No, literally, and it's funny, is always what I say is, no matter what comes along, does this mortgage payment make you sleep well at night, right? And so really, when now there's so much uncertainty and the world is kind of changing rapidly around us, the same clients that were starting to purchase 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we're not seeing this exodus. We're not seeing people run away or back away, because no matter what, they were comfortable. You know what I mean? No matter what, they were happy with this and knew that this was something that was a long-term financial goal and dream for many of them. So we're not seeing this state of panic or confusion, or, you know what I mean? Especially with, I pride myself in that. And anybody that I'm working with knows what they're getting into and knows kind of what the worst case scenario could be. So no matter what comes along, they are within their goals and their comfort level,
Really good point. Great point. So the interest rates for home mortgages, just like you talked about, they can be changing from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. So
Yeah.
how in the world can we be sure that the client is getting the very best interest rate that they can?
So, without sounding like a shameless plug for myself, you have got to have a good relationship with your lender, period. No matter if it's me, no matter if it's someone that you've known forever, like no matter what it is, if you're doing a purchase or you're doing a refinance, right? Or you're a real estate agent, right? Partnering with a lender, it is important to have trust and communication with that person, right? And not to take it too lightly. But the thing is that online rate calculators are not accurate. There is no, like, every lender is going to be different. Every lender is going to have different ways that they can lower your rate. Every lender is going to be a little different. So if this is something that you're considering, what's so important is to have an honest conversation with someone. What I'm doing, especially with refinances, so I am the biggest part of my business is purchases, right? And working with real estate agent, working with buyers, getting them into homes. But I've been doing that for 5 years now. So now we have a lot of clients that are interested in a refinance, right? So for clients that are interested in refinances, we're going ahead and reactivating their application, right? Getting a credit pull, getting income updated, getting kind of the file situated, so that when my every morning routine now is coming in, and I just start like locking in loans, because I don't know why, but in the mornings they tend to be more favorable. So what I'm seeing is, okay, what is the market right now? Is this lower than their comfort level, right? Is this at or lower than what we discussed in terms of a rate? And if it is, I just jump on it. And that's not scientific and that's not a perfect answer, but that's what I'm doing. I don't know what else. I've never experienced a market like this, So I'm preparing them first. Really important to note, just a side note here for realtor partners, for clients, for buyers, a lender on a refinance should not have to pull your credit to give you a very transparent line by line breakdown on what your new payment, new estimated rate, closing costs, escrow setup. They should not have to pull your credit to do that, right? I'm sending out estimates kind of all day long right now based on, hey, a conversation. What's your address? What's the estimated value of the home? Can you send me your most recent mortgage statement? And what do you estimate your credit score to be, right? With those 4 pieces of information, I can send a very clear line by line breakdown on what it could be, right? And so if anybody is saying that they can't and they have to have a credit pull, or they have to have your documents, or they have to have this, or they got to send them money or whatever, just run for the hills. Like there's no need to, right? And if I pull credit and it's different from what was estimated, we can talk through that, right? But anyway, have I gone off on?
No, everything that you're covering is so important. And so, not really switching gears, but sort of going on a little bit of a different track, because we've been talking, I guess, in general about what we consider conventional loans, right? Most people get the 30-year conventional loan, or maybe 15. But what about FHA and VA loans? Are these caught up in that same craziness? Just tell us, is there any difference that those clients should be looking at?
So that's a fantastic question. So pretty generally, FHA and VA interest rates are lower than conventional in some cases, right? So you get, with lower credit scores, you get more forgiveness on interest rate with an FHA or VA product than you would for a conventional loan, right? So let's just say if you have a 680 credit score, for a conventional loan right now, your rate may be 4.25% or so. And for an FHA loan, you're at 3.625, right? And those are kind of high numbers, so you know. But to put it in perspective, yes, we're seeing these same benefits. There was a borrower who, amazing people, they had some medical things come up that put some dings on their credit, that they were below 600 as a credit score. They just got approved. When I originally quoted them, we were at an interest rate of 4.75%. Yesterday, I locked them in at 3.65%, right?
Oh my gosh. They
It's
must
like,
love you.
yeah. And for VA with credit scores, 680 or higher, we're seeing very low threes, like we're talking high twos, you know what I mean? So there's absolutely, is a great time for all of those. We call them government products, right? For
Yes.
any of us, really good.
Wow, amazing. Okay, that's exciting. That's very exciting. So we talked a little bit about this already, but how do you know if it's the right time to refinance your home mortgage? So is there like a, do you say 2%, or I don't know, what do you say is the kind of right criteria for someone to start considering that?
So I said this, I put a video out a little while ago, and kind of hold true to that, is that if you were considering doing a refinance before all of this new, information came out, then probably it's good to follow that through, right? Refinances can be so different because people's situations change so much, right? A lot of times you buy when your credit score is a little bit lower and take advantage of an FHA loan to get, a lower interest rate. But 2 years in, your credit score's improved, you have equity in the house, you can refinance and get into a conventional product, right? Which would be overall more beneficial. Without getting into the 50 million different reasons, right, why you can refinance, I say just have a conversation with someone. Like I said, to have a conversation with a lender takes 15 to 20 minutes, right? I can get some information, send you an estimate, and then if you don't want to do it, it doesn't make sense, and then that's it, right? So if you're considering a refinance, why not? Let's see, because I'm not afraid to tell people, and I do tell people kind of not super often, but I just say like, hey, I don't think this is smart. Hey, your closing costs are going to be $11,000 and you just bought the house a year ago, and I don't think it's the best use of your equity.
So that right there is really valuable information, because I think that people forget you have to pay new closing costs. There are new costs associated. It's not just like, okay, let's sign the paperwork and now we have a lower interest rate. It doesn't work like that. So
those costs are rolled into the mortgage, but we are using your equity to do that, right? So no, there's no out-of-pocket costs. So refinances are free, right? No, they're absolutely not. Closing costs all up in there. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So then is there any sort of thing like, okay, let's say someone has a 4.5% interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a good difference between what is the typical thing right now? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's a great general rule. If your rate is at 4.5 or higher, or even in some cases, 4.25 or higher, it may be worth a conversation.
Okay, that is great. That is very valuable information. Okay, so the one last thing, I would love to actually do a whole talk on this one for you, but to sort of say, how do you get your credit ready, especially during these kind of crazy, chaotic times, if you know that you're going to want to be buying in the next few months? Do you just have a few quick tips that you could share?
For sure. Again, and I don't mean to sound like, again, shameless self-promotion or promotion for any lender.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, the best way to do it. So let's say if you're interested in buying, get with a great realtor, right? Like Dawn. who is amazing and takes such great care of her clients. And it's just always such a pleasure working with you. So talk with a realtor. They'll refer you to a trusted lending partner, or reach out to a lender and we can refer you to a trusted realtor partner. But the main thing is, if you're going to start this journey, start with a lender. Let me pull your credit, because what is on Credit Karma or your credit card statement or whatever is on a different reporting scale from what we see. So it can show lower or higher on your credit score, right? But it's not accurate in terms of the mortgage world. So the first thing is, get with a lender, let us pull credit, let us do a complete underwriting review, right? We can get all of your documents in, we can, do the entire mortgage process, and then let's talk numbers. If at step one, when we pull credit, if there needs to be some improvement or repair, I have a professional that I can recommend. We have on the lending side this tool called a what if simulator that lets us run scenarios. What if they pay off this? What if you get added to another account? What if you open a new line of credit, right? So, and this may be a good time to do it too. Like if you're thinking, I want to buy in 6 months, right? Great time to get your stuff in order, right? We can go through, like I said, and it's unique. It's not unique to Amerifirst specifically, but not every lender has the ability to do a full underwrite before you find a property. So that's something that we really value, that we can give real answers on exactly what and I love this term, purchasing power is, right? So just start with a lender, start with a realtor, but don't think because something's on Credit Karma that says your score is at 620, don't let that deter you, or at 580 or whatever, you know what I mean? Or at 780, don't think that that's the end all be all, Start with a lender, get real options. When you start talking with a lender, you have a time frame to shop around with different lenders during that initial process. So my biggest advice is find someone that you are confident in their services, that they know what they're doing, and that they can give you real answers. If a lender is not giving you numbers or quoting you something verbally or sending you a text message with a rate and saying that's all I can do now, just get a second opinion on that.
Okay. I definitely like that. And, I'm so glad that you brought up this idea of, having like the credit score of 780, because I remember one of my clients that I brought to you, she had what she thought was immaculate credit. She didn't ever charge on her credit cards. She was very good, no debt, nothing. And I remember you told her, you've got to go buy something. You've got to go build up a little bit of credit, because she was so used to buying everything just out of her account directly, that she didn't actually have credit built up. So that's another thing. I know that you can be really helpful when you're guiding your clients with that, as like, okay, you need to do this and you need to do this, and then come back to me in a month, or come back to me even in a couple of weeks. I think with this particular client, it was only 2 or 3 weeks and she was ready to go.
Right. And we can do a rapid rescore. There's a lot of things that we can do. And the thing is that with credit, excuse me. So with credit, it's never a no, right? With credit, it's never a no. Sometimes it's a not right now. And then we can put that game plan together. So don't be intimidated by credit concerns, or if I had this, again, amazing, wonderful girl. She was like, oh, I talked with a lender and they told me I would never qualify. And I went, oh, like, that's so sad. Like, yes, you can. Let's do this. You know what I mean? So, for credit, there's always a way to figure it out.
Okay, that is awesome. Well, Rachel, I know you are super, super, super busy, and the fact that you took time out of your busy day to talk to all of us, I so greatly appreciate that. How can people get a hold of you?
Yes. So my cell phone number is area code 803 429-2203. You can hit me up on Facebook through, my profile page here. And yeah, I would love to. I so appreciate Nan, you putting this out there, and asking me to be here. If any realtors have watched it to this long, though, I did want to give a quick update, and we hadn't talked about this, so sorry. But I wanted to give a quick date on appraisals. And if we could just kind of end on that note. But so we're getting kind of daily appraisal updates. There are new developments. So for refinances, which were kind of clogging up the appraisal pipeline, right? All these refis are getting in the way of purchases, right? Which are on very tight timelines. For appraisals, we're seeing there's a different computer program that we can run that grants us an appraisal waiver. I just got 2 today, which is really exciting, right? So for refis, there's some improvement there that we're not getting so many. For appraisers, now, as of now, all appraisers on purchases still have to go into the house and do kind of a standard appraisal. If you can, realtors, please, maybe not be there, right? I know that's hard and that's opposite of what we've always said, but to leave doors open, like to go by and open a door and maybe be there when they get there and wave and kind of walk down the street, to have windows open if possible, to leave a little box of Lysol wipes. I know they're super hard to come by, but anything that we can do to make their exposure less, right? And certainly we're all being very mindful of social distancing and that kind of thing. But what I'm finding with appraisals is that right now, and there's changes coming and blah, 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 but as of today and as of probably this week and next week, appraisers have to go and be at a home in person. So any way, agents, that we can accommodate them and say, hey, no super rush, right? We can have a couple extra days on this one, or what can we do to make you feel most comfortable? That is going a long, long, long way on our side. I probably should have started with that because the realtors may not have stuck out through the whole call.
But we can say, hey, realtors at minute such and such. But I love that. I love that idea of just making it easier for the appraiser, because it's a necessary step. So let's all try to help each other. These are crazy times. There is definitely a light at the end of the tunnel. And I really want to reiterate that. I posted something yesterday because I thought it was a really great article, how numerous places are doing predictions that the third and fourth quarter are probably going to be amazing for the economy. So let's not stay in the doom and gloom mentality. I know it's tough right now, but this too will pass. And if you want to hold off to buy real estate, of course, wait till the third and fourth quarter, but start talking to Rachel right now. Get things in line with your credit, get ready to go, because once this is over, we are all going to be jumping right back on the bandwagon. I do have to tell you though, things haven't slowed down for me actually. It's been kind of crazy busy, which I'm thrilled about, but it just goes to show you, people are still doing real estate.
Correct. And like I said, we're seeing the same thing on purchases. We're seeing it's fine. It's fine out here. Like there's no mass exodus or panic or, I think as long as you're comfortable and prepared, a home purchase is a great thing. Don't do it just to do it, right? Get informed, get with a great agent, right? But I love that.
Okay, Rachel, thank you again. Everyone reach out to her. She is awesome.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Sam, for jumping on.
Bye.
All right, see ya. Bye.